Hello there. Welcome back. Another episode of the Agostinho Zinga Show with your host, Agostinho Zinga, and I hope you're doing well wherever this podcast may find you. I hope you are doing swimmingly. How am I? You know how it is. All good, all things considered. It could be better, but I think I'm doing well. I think I'm doing swimmingly. Today has been a wild one. I stepped outside for a couple of minutes to go pick up some flipping bits and pieces for my dinner, and the first thing that struck me, guess what? It's absolutely cold out there. It's really, really cold out there. Like to the point where I was thinking to myself, wow, I can't believe there are times where I'll be outside of clubs queuing for fucking hours and hours and hours, waiting to see if I'd get selected to go inside. Not waiting to go inside, waiting to see if I get selected to go inside. And now just nip into the shops, nip into the local Tesco Express, nip into the Lidl, nip into Marks and Spencer's, go into flipping Aldi, go into Poundland, go into Pound Stretchers, go into Boots, whatever it may be, which is only a 20-minute walk, 15-minute walk. My hands and toes and fingers are already chapping. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home. So I've already turned into somebody that I thought I'd never turn into. Tears in the chat for me. But one thing I was thinking about that is fairly evident, and I kind of had a realization about it today, is this. I think I speak more about going out and more about clubs than I do actually going to them. I've reached that conclusion. I've reached a conclusion where I've started to realize I think I speak about these things more than I actually do them. Yeah, I might do the odd live stream online and stuff, but I think I talk about clubbing more than I actually go to clubs. So I'm wondering, am I getting to the point now I'm getting over it? Am I getting to the point where I'm getting over it because I'm now talking about these things more than I'm doing them? Am I becoming the poser that I kind of abhor? Am I becoming the fucking, that guy that just like, right, exactly, Monday morning quarterback in the clubs? Is that what I'm doing? I feel really sad and really, it's a sad realization, obviously, that this is happening in real time. But I did kind of get that feeling recently. And I think only in the recent few years, especially since I've been doing the pod and I've been talking to a few people online, that I've kind of, again, this sounds really naive and it sounds like I'm very sheltered, which I am, and I'm in my own bubble, which I clearly am. But I honestly only started to realize since I've been doing the stream more often and been doing the podcast more often that there are adults out there, there are people out there in a similar sort of age bracket as I am who don't go out. That's just not what they do. They don't enjoy going to clubs. They don't enjoy going outside. They just don't. Whereas my whole entire life was revolved somewhat around raving and getting fucked up and DJing and all that malarkey. But there are people who are sometimes even way younger than I am who have no interest of going to a nightclub. It's one of the biggest turn-offs for them ever. And I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, hold on, there are people that exist that don't like going to clubs. I was like, huh? That's strange. Only from doing the pod that I kind of realized that, oh shit, there's a whole world of people out there who don't like that shit. I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But then just the other day, I also got the feeling like a lot of people are maybe getting over, I don't say getting over it, but I get the feeling that people are kind of over it. I don't know why. There's a feeling in the air at the moment. Again, if you're associated with the scene in London, if you're associated with the scene in Berlin, in Amsterdam, in other parts of the world, maybe you feel the same. But I feel like there's a feeling, there's a malaise in the air where people are kind of over it. Because just the other day, I was speaking to somebody and I kind of got the feeling like I was being soft broken up with in terms of raving partner or buddy or potential raving partner or buddy. I felt like I was getting the soft kind of like letting down of like, hey, this isn't gonna happen anytime soon. This isn't my vibe. I'm not really feeling like, going down this kind of route or this kind of lane. I'm on this other wave. I kind of got the feeling I kind of got broken up with in terms of a raving buddy the other day. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if it's me not being a great companion. That could be possible, or it could be the fact that maybe people around me are just over it, and I have to kind of wake up quickly and realize that that's the case. Otherwise, things could get really dicey really quickly. But that's what's happening in real time at the moment. I'm starting to realize now that maybe I'm becoming that guy that talks about clubbing more than they actually go to an actual club, which is kind of sad, to be fair. But hey, I guess you kind of have to get it how you get it. But obviously, in the next couple of months, that will change. In March, there is a plan for me to go to Berlin or Berlin, obviously in March. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and obviously I'm reporting on that live on this flipping pod, obviously with my review and shit. It's not going to be as debauched and unhinged as my previous times though. Like, I think the times of me going there and going to absolutely get my face absolutely smashed into pieces has completely disappeared. If anything, I'm there for the culture, I'm there for the food, I'm there for the vibes, and just the kind of banter in the pubs and bars. That's something you don't really get too much in London. I feel like for whatever reason, I know what the reason is, because people here work too much. I don't know if it's the same in your city, but because people in London work really, really hard, and they're working all around the clock, and sometimes you have to work 2 jobs to keep a fucking roof over your head. When you do meet your friends or your colleagues or something that you want to catch up with, or your family members in a pub or a bar, the last thing you want is for a random like me to turn up and start like getting involved in your chat and start joining your circle. You want to catch up with your actual friends, people you actually know. So there's less spontaneity because people are time pressed, and the time that they do have available, they want to talk to people that they actually know. They don't want to talk to strangers. But when you go abroad, or I think when I go abroad, especially when I go places like Berlin and stuff, you see there's a lot more people, are a lot more laid back. There's a lot more spontaneity. You can sometimes end up talking to random groups of people who then can recommend you other places to go, or you end up befriending them. You end up hanging out with them the whole night, maybe doing afters and stuff. So all that sort of fun stuff is really cool, and that doesn't always need to be drink and drug induced. It can just be like a chill place to hang out. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and that being a thing going forward, because you don't really get that sort of experience over here. So I'm really looking forward to it. But I think the times of me going out in general and get absolutely railed have definitely gone. It's just really sad. And yeah, man, I guess it kind of is what it is. I thought it was gonna last forever, but I guess I'm turning into a guy, especially now. It's a Saturday. It's Saturday morning. It's just approaching 2 a.m. here in the UK. It's about 1:47 a.m. on Sunday morning. In days gone by, I would be in the toilet somewhere of a nightclub, absolutely getting my face absolutely railed, dropping whatever I'm dropping on my tongue, face covered in fucking liqueur, t-shirt covered in stains of beer and stuff, and just dancing my face off. And land, look at me. I'm at home streaming, recording a podcast and stuff, and talking to strangers online. That's the time. That's what I'm doing with my time, instead of being out there going absolutely crazy. So I guess that is it's the way of the beast. I guess things kind of change in real time. You have to kind of adjust to it. And to be honest as well, the last thing you want, and I think this is something I've kind of used as a mantra for me. I don't know about you guys if it's the same, but I've always been this kind of person I've kind of given myself this mantra, or I've kind of given myself this like thing I keep in mind when I go out, where it's like, I never want to be the last person at a fucking afters. I never want to overstay my welcome at an after. That's what I mean. Sorry, not last person, but yeah, you know what I mean. When you go to an afters, which is usually somebody's house after the after party, I never want to be the last person there. You always want to be the person that kind of knows when to leave before you get asked to leave, and that's usually a talent in itself, because it requires you to be somewhat present, somewhat aware of the situation and the environment that you're in, and move accordingly. You can't be too loosey goosey. You can't be too reckless. You can't get too lost in the sauce. You kind of have to keep your wits about you. So it's something that I've been kind of battling with, and something I've kind of kept in the front of my brain for a while, right? So I'm really, really happy that's the case. But one thing that you don't want above that, which is more embarrassing, is that you don't want to be the fucking old dusty guy in the corner of the club. You know what I mean? And that's something that I realized I was starting to do when I started to recently go. I was starting to realize that I was starting to go, when I went to clubs, I wasn't hanging out the front anymore like I used to. I wasn't right in the pit. I was at the back with my arms crossed, nodding away to the music, looking like a fucking fed. You know what I mean? Looking like a narc, looking like someone's dad, looking like someone's uncle in the back, just with my arms crossed, like nodding, enjoying the music with my one little beer, looking like an absolute donut. So you don't want to be that guy forever and ever and ever. So maybe it's a good thing that it's happening, but it was kind of a bittersweet realization that, number one, I got soft broken up with somebody that I was assuming that I could be able to go party with, and it was a bit like, hey, I'm not, like, kind of got a signal like, I'm not in the mood, I'm not in a vibe anymore. Your distraction, leave me alone, which is kind of which is kind of ouchy because I don't even go out myself, do you know what I mean? But the moment you say it, you sound like a weird, it's just odd because there's this kind of always this undertone of like, I wouldn't say lifestyle shaming, but there's a weird undertone when it comes to people that party. It's almost as if like everything else around you in your life is also fucked up because you go raving. People just assume you're a fucking, you're some sort of crackhead that just lives on the lives for the rave every single day, which isn't the case, especially in London. Most people just go out on the weekends. They don't usually let it carry on in a week. But hey, whatever, it is what it is. So I got self broken up with, and then I realized just the other day I was like, you know what? I think I talk about raving more than I actually go to raves. I think I'm becoming a bit of a loser. But hey, what can you do? Talking about losers, have you guys seen this? This might be one of the most craziest bits of news I've seen in my entire life. Have you guys seen this? This is courtesy of No Jumper News, but I obviously found it on fucking the Akademiks subreddit also, right? This is absolutely crazy. So this is courtesy of No Jumper, and it says here, old Crime Stoppers report surfaces in Florida of police looking for underground rapper Lil Boom for allegedly touching the backside of multiple people, including children. Hello? 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 Have you flipping heard of this? So if you guys don't know, Lil Boom is one of Akademiks' right-hand men. He's part of the chat niggas. If you know that whole group of people, basically it's kids and guys that are into Akademiks, and they tune into his stream and shit. He calls them chat niggas, and he's one of the the leading voices of the chat nigger crew. And somebody found this news, somebody found this flipping article, whatever it may be, that allegedly he was involved in this sort of nonsense where he was going to stores, a department store somewhere, I guess, and basically sexually assaulting random people, including fucking children. Can you imagine this? Let's go to the next slide. It says, so this is an old post from 2021 when it happened, right? And I guess whatever area this is, what area is this? This is somewhere in where? In Ocala. I don't know where that place is. Where's Ocala? Ocala is in Florida, I'm assuming, right? So this place called Ocala, the police department put out this post on Facebook. Can you identify this person? We need to help identifying this person of interest. We have seen walking around the inside of a Walmart located on Easy Street. Jesus, the name of the Walmart being on Easy Street and him doing what he did is a bit disgusting. Inside Walmart, he inappropriately touched the backside of multiple people, including children. He left in a red sedan, possibly a 2011 Chevrolet Impala. If you have any information about this individual, please call the officer Prater at the number attached. And if you scroll down, obviously in the next slide, you'll see a picture of the guy, Lil Boom, walking in the shop with his toes out and his pajama pants, going into the store, deciding to randomly start touching up people on their bums and shit. Can you imagine? And then obviously in the comments, some of the mums and stuff are saying what the person allegedly did. This is the same guy who followed me and my daughter around the whole store. The person says here, to be honest, I don't know. We hurried and paid for what we had and we just left. He was acting absolutely weird. He had a buggy full of food and then left it down the aisle and then went to the other side of the store and was going down different aisles. So just acting sketchy. So one of fucking Akademiks' right-hand men is being accused of this. So it's been a pretty horrible week so far for Akademiks. He had that really embarrassing thing where that girl called Shay Glizzy, Cheyenne, however her name is, this on and off girlfriend that's been a bane in his life really. She's super toxic, but for some reason Ak is madly in love with her also, and he can't seem to let her go, but she keeps exposing him and revealing crazy secrets about him. And recently she was on live stream on the Instagram stories, and he was in a very uncompromising position. Didn't look very flattering of him lying down on a chair somewhere, not looking like a prize. And then according to Adam 22 and Whack 100, she allegedly sent Whack 100 a picture of Akademiks' dick. And allegedly, according to Whack 100 and Adam 22, Akademiks' dick is really small. It's almost like a micro penis, they're alleging, right? So I guess when they were beefing, when Cheyenne and Akademiks were going through some bad times, she decided to send this thing to Whack 100. And obviously Whack 100 being the consummate snake and the consummate troublemaker that he is, he kept a hold of that copy of that picture, and now he's basically taunting Akademiks about it, and he hasn't responded yet or said anything about it. But I'm sure Akademiks must know by now that more than likely that picture, that dick pic that his girl or his on and off girlfriend sent to Whack was probably going to get out somewhere or the other. So please brace yourself. Please brace yourself. You're probably gonna see Akademiks is wee wee somewhere on social media very, very soon. Most unlikely. These guys are too chatty patty, they're way too gossipy, they're way too backstabby and snaky to keep it to themselves. Most likely you're gonna see you know, Akademiks is tiny PP up close and personal. So that's the first thing about this Lil Boom guy. Then there was an update regarding it also on here, where 1090 Jake and Lil Boom went back to back. Went back and forth regarding the whole affair. 1090 Jake responds to Lil Boom allegations, and in the tweet, in the caption here, in the next slide, you'll see what he said to him. The caption's got what it says, and then obviously in the replies, Lil Boom said, "This is cap, nigga. If this is true, I'd be on the fucking registry." And then 1090 Jake says, "You sure about that?" Because I'm assuming 1090 Jake may have the flipping documents about him, right? And there's obviously some video proof here of the documents of what that kind of Lil Boom guy did. And then I think we're going to get some actual information on what actually went down here. If we kind of scroll up, there might be some actual extra details if we can kind of spec it out. Bear with me a second. It's there. Here we go. So this is the paperwork. So again, the internet is horrible, right? Because when this stuff happens, there's loads of paperwork fiends out there. The paperwork side of social media decides to just, you know, jump on it and say, hey, if this is true, especially if it involves kids, they're gonna flip and dig it out. So Lil Boom kind of, you know, goaded people into saying it wasn't true, and now it's been proven that it mostly likely is true, and there's a police report around it. So this is a police report that you can see here. What's it say? If you zoom in a little bit, it says the arrest affidavit appearance form for Ocala police. It's got his name on there, right? His actual government name. It's got his date of birth, Florida. He's got his height, obviously everything there, and it's got the accusation, the assault. You know, the accusation. What do you call it? The accusation, the assault, whatever the thing is. Here, the description. It says battery, 2 counts. Fucking hell, bro. And his bond was $2,000 allegedly. God damn. God damn. God damn. God damn. And it's got some other details as well regarding his name and whatnot. So clearly something that he said wasn't a thing. I think he's assuming just because he didn't get put on that's a strange defense, isn't it? Imagine that's your defense against somebody accusing you of being a fucking, you know, an abuser, a diddler, a fucking sexual assault or whatever it may be. Imagine your offense being, but they didn't put me in a sex offender register, so it doesn't matter. They didn't put me in a sex offender register, so I didn't do it. It's like, that's some odd defense. The fact that you have to say that says everything about your current predicament, to be completely honest. Then in the next slide here, we've got some more that's kind of describing a situation. Oh my God, this is describing a situation. Is this the actual police statement? Is that from a victim or something? Who signed this at the bottom? Oh my God. So before me and the signed authority person appeared, who began dutifully swore alleges on the information behalf on the 19th of the 9th 2021, approximately 16:59 hours, I responded to Walmart located on the street. Upon arrival, I was contacted by this person who advised his daughters were inappropriately touched. So the dad is the one that called the police. The dad called the police. The dad called the police and said his daughters had been inappropriately touched. He's lucky he didn't get his face broken, to be fair. Because if I'm in a Walmart and my little fucking princesses, my angels, get touched by a guy that looks like that, I'm going fucking crazy. I'm the one going to prison. Do you know what I mean? I'm the one spending the night in jail, mate. Fuck that. I'm not calling the police. The police can get called for me fucking ripping this guy's face open. Like, what? I made contact with the daughters. Their names. Oh my God, bro. I made contact with the daughters, Natasha Quevedo, 10 years old, and Brislin Molina, 70. Oh my God. Natasha Quevedo, 10 years old and 17 years old, who advised that they were in produce section with the rest of their family nearby. Natasha and Brislin advised that the male approached her and touched her butt with a grabbing motion. The male then continued to Brislin, where he then touched her butt with a grabbing motion and continued to walk away. This nigga's out here touching 10-year-olds. Nah, Akademiks has to disown him. Academics, you have to disown him. You have to disavow this, man. You have to you have to kick him out of the chat, niggas. You have to fucking ban his account from your fucking server. You have to fucking kick him out. Oh my god. I did make contact with a witness, Robert Burton, who advised that he was shopping in the produce section. Robert advised that while shopping, he observed a male touching a young female, later identified as Brisleen, in the butt. Robert explained that Brisleen looked up at the male and made eye contact with the male before the male finally walked away. The suspect was described as a tall black male, 20 to 30 years old, with Afro-style hair, wearing a long-sleeve blue shirt and pajama pants with Afro-style hair. Oh my god. Akademiks, man. The company you keep. Again, this isn't his fault, I understand. But Akademiks, the company you keep. These are the same guys that get on fucking Fresh and Fit. Imagine. Keep this in mind. These are the same guys that get on Fresh and Fit and they start barking. They start barking at these random OnlyFans girls and start shouting at them and whatever that fucking word is, right? Taking the fucking piss out of them, making them feel less than, questioning their fucking, questioning their viability of their fucking occupation, all this sort of nonsense. But this is what they're doing. You got Akademiks screaming at one of his girls in that shopping mall, that epic fucking, or the casino, that epic fucking clip of him screaming, "I'm the prize." And one of his boys is doing this. One of your fucking right-hand men, one of your codees, one of your fucking gang is out here touching fucking 10-year-olds in Walmart. Nah. This guy's got to be fucking electrocuted. He's got to be hung. He's got to be lethal injected. He's got to be buried under a jail. Then when his body fucking rots, it's got to be dug up again and then thrown and scattered across the ocean. Honestly, this is disgusting, bro. Contact was made with the loss prevention Robert whatever, who allowed me to view the video surveillance. At 14:39 hours, I observed red sedan, possibly a red Chevrolet Impala, with the black rims entering the parking lot. I then observed a BM, a black man matching the previous description, I guess, of exit the vehicle. I then observed the approximately 16:40 hours, the male or the produce section walking around. At this time, Brisleen and Natasha were standing at the produce display sectioning items. The male then approached Natasha from the rear, touched the butt area, which then, when Natasha jumps away from the man, Natasha and Brisleen walk towards their mother. Sarah and the male proceeds to close to them. The male then turns around and walks towards Brisleen and proceeds to touch her butt area. The male walks away and walks through the grocery area and eventually goes back to the produce department. At approximately 16:49, I observed the male approach an unknown black female wearing a brown shirt and pants it appears the male attempts to touch the woman's butt, but the female does not react. The female then walks towards forward steps and the male touches her butt again, which then the female turns around and stares at the male. It should be noted that I had not been able to contact this victim. So he touched the Honestly, man, black guys are down bad. I'm not part of this contingent because these are American dudes, but this is really, really dodgy, man. This is so bad, man. Black boys are down really bad, man. We're down fucking 100 million points. This guy's out here touching 10-year-olds and random women in the fucking Walmart. Fuck, bro. This is such a fucking L. This is such a big L. This is such an L. Yikes. Next slide. More police report here. There's more fucking more conversation, more bits and pieces of his fucking nonsense. Upon arrival, I made contact with Darian Hester, who was an uncooperative and refused to provide any information. I made contact with Paula Myers, who is registered owner of the Chevy Malibu, and also advised that she is Shannon Adams' mother. I asked Paula about Shannon using her vehicle, and she acknowledged that Shannon took it to Walmart. Paula acknowledged the fact that Shannon is also known as Lil Boom. I then searched, of course his name is Shannon, isn't it? Of course his name is fucking Shannon. I then searched in-house and located a telephone number for him. I made contact via telephone with the subject and identified themselves as Shannon. When I asked Shannon about the incident, he advised he was just shopping around and declined touching anyone. Shannon further advised that he was at Walmart on Sunday. Due to the fact that I was able to positively identify the suspect, Shannon admitted to being at Walmart. I believe there's probable cause for 2 counts of battery. Wow. 2 counts of battery for that. What an absolute psychopath. So obviously, the proof is out there, the evidence is out there. It's hard to kind of argue against, and I'm eager to see what Akademiks says about it. What does Akademiks say about his right hand man getting caught touching up children? Like, what does he say? What does he say about that? Because this is pretty disgusting. I'm not gonna lie, pretty disgusting. But again, not surprising, because it's been a whole bunch of L's for Akademiks recently. It's been non-stop L's, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse for him. Really, it really fucking is. So I guess maybe he has to fucking make it work and figure it out. I don't know, but if I was him, I would fucking kick him out of the fucking chat niggas group for sure. Lil Boom actually replied in the comments here. What did he say here? Lil Boom says, "This is so cap, niggas. If this was true, I'd be on the fucking registry. I fell off already, bub. You tried to cap on me in like 2018. Oh, you can't be talking. That's a weird defense. I should be in a registry if I did what I did. Like, bro, like, you can inappropriately touch people and not appear on a sex offender register. It doesn't mean because you're not on a sex offenders register that you're not a sex offender. Like, I'm sure the sex offender registry is like a different type of thing, and the reasons why people get on it are kind of complex and varied. But I don't think just because you're not on it, it doesn't mean you didn't do it. That is a weird defense. But yeah, Akademiks' crew is really, really sus. And again, like I said previously, like, I would wish that we would get to a place. I really do wish we'd get to a place where it became cool to know how to treat women well. Like, not even like crazy having to do the whole roses and, whatever nonsense, super romantic thing you want to do with, horse and carriage and flying people somewhere, whatever it may be. But just just bring back into some level of popularity, just treating women like human beings and being kind of nice and, being, I don't know, having chivalry or some respect, right? Having some level of manners, being decent, opening doors, letting them sit down first before you, just kind of just being a good dude. Even if it just means you just want to beat, it doesn't mean because you want to beat that you have to kind of be a fucking piece of shit. Even if you want to just beat, just being a good dude about it, like making the experience nice and kind of mutually beneficial, not making the other person feel like a fucking whore or something, and just going above and beyond to make sure the person has just as much of a good time as you do. Because this is what's, because the opposite is all this shit. The opposite is this guy pulling up to a Walmart in his pajamas and open-toe sandals, touching 10-year-olds and shit. Like, really odd. It really fucking is odd. I really do wish that there was more flipping, credence and more importance put towards just being a good dude. It's all well and good, running around beating randoms and stuff and thinking you're a bad boy. But honestly, why can't we bring back, guys just being nice? Like, guys just being good dates, guys just being good company, all this sort of good stuff should be back into vogue as well, instead of all this nonsense. Yo, big up Wingus Dingus.
Big up Az, big up the chat. Any chance of a bean cheese chop?
Yeah, of course. Bean cheese. Big up Wingus McDingus. Appreciate you, brother. Of course, man. Of course. Anytime. Look at the frame rate. But yeah, big up Wingus McDingus. Appreciate you, brother. A bean cheese chop. But yeah, what can you do? What can you flipping do? Fucking hell, horrendous. Like I said, he should be thrown in the ocean. He should be fucking hung from somewhere, electrocuted, all of that stuff, and everything else in between. I don't stand for that. I don't like it. That stuff is fucking gross, nasty, disgusting. Over it. Moving on, again, another reminder that I would very much like there to be a fucking pause, a real collective pause and a stopping of these topics. I'm tired of them. I understand this lady, if I'm not mistaken, this Oloni lady is a author and she writes books about relationships and sex and stuff, so maybe this is right in her lane. But I'm tired of this. I'm really tired of these fucking conversations and these tweets. And I really do hope from now on in 2024, this is the last time we see this shit. So if you're not seeing it on the screen, because it's a bit too flipping whatever, but essentially she said here, I'm asking this question because of a dilemma I just received. Okay, so if you're in a relationship, is it wrong to share a bed with your best friend of the opposite sex? Like, honestly, is this what's actually going through your brain? Is this what's going through your brain? Is this what's going through your brain on a daily basis? You just sit around thinking of these nonsense fucking topics. Are you not tired of these things? Are you not tired of thinking about this stuff on a daily basis? Who should pay for the first date? Should you split the bill? Should you get married before having? Should you have kids before getting married? If your boyfriend cheated on you, would you take him back? Would you go for the? How much money does a guy have to make before he dates you? How much money? Should he buy you this? It's like fucking hell. It's boring. These topics have been running to the ground. I've had enough. We all have had enough. We don't want to hear these conversations and these topics anymore. They're all fucking boring, brain dead, birdie, fucking, beastie, laddie, dumb, fucking double digit IQ conversations. They're all absolutely stupid. But with that being said, maybe I'm the one maybe I'm the stupid one. Maybe I'm the exception, because I think the majority of people, based on these people's views, if you go on certain channels and shit, you'll see certain channels that base their content around this sort of stuff. Their views are in the fucking hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And my views are in the single digit thousands, So maybe they know what they're doing and I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe there is some genius to be had with recycling love, relationship and sex topics again and again and again ad nauseum. Big up Richie, I appreciate you.
As can't wait to hear about the title. Why is Pharrell trash? I got like 5 pieces from the collection for a price of a car, but hey, what do I know?
For the price of a car. Richie. That's fucking hilarious. I got 5 pieces for the price of a car. What do I know? Big up Richie, man. Balling out of control. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna fucking get to that. Don't you worry. We're gonna get to that. But big up Richie, I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I don't know. I just look at these topics and I think to myself, like, maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe I'm the person that's in the wrong here. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe I should jump on it because it's, people want to hear and want to see that sort of stuff. Because like I said before, the views, like someone mentioned here, the views on TikTok, the views on YouTube, the views on Instagram, the engagement on different platforms when it comes to these topics is sky high. Clearly, I'm the minority here. But I honestly do think these topics aren't even that interesting. They don't even ask interesting questions. Like, this questions he's asking is like dumb. Like, what? Would you be okay? Like, just reverse it and ask the person, would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with your husband or your boyfriend telling you that he's sleeping over at his quote unquote friend's house and she happens to be a really hot girl? Would that be okay with you? And they're sleeping in the same bed. Would you be okay with that? If you're okay with that, then cool. Then you should be okay with him doing it. Whatever. Move on. It's not that deep of a topic. And also, you don't need to bring all your fucking bedroom kind of debates and whatever it may be, relationship stuff to the internet. Can we just like have that? I think I blame Loveline. I blame Loveline. I blame all those papers that ask you to send in your questions about relationship, because really and truly, like, what is it anyone's business? Like, why do we care? Everyone's relationship is different. Everyone has different things that they tolerate and don't tolerate. Like, why should we have to be subjected to your inner monologue when it comes to dating and fucking and stuff? You have to be like, why? Why do we have to know about this stuff? Can you just leave us alone? Can you just sort it out on your own? Do you have to always fucking, what you call it? Do you always have to flip in, gather the fucking views of random people online before you make a decision? And isn't that a bit weird too? Imagine you're actually taking the relationship advice from people that you don't know online. Like, some random people just are the ones suggesting you or telling you whether or not you should like divorce somebody, get with somebody, move on to the next stage or something. Like, what? Because like, what the hell is going on? What happened to just you being able to judge it for yourself because you're actually, guess what, in the fucking relationship? Why do you need to flip in, why need to do a group project with strangers online regarding who you are laying with in your bed or who you decide to share your life with? Like, it's no benefit to anybody out here. It really flipping isn't. It's so odd. Is like, I just don't even understand exactly. A young boy saying that, I don't get the question. I don't get the flipping question. I don't get the fucking question. Like, why would you want to do that anyway? Like, what, does your friend not have another room? Does your friend not have a floor you can sleep on? Does your friend not have a couch? You just have to sleep in their bed. Well, like, what? Like, why? What is even this question? And what scenario even got you there anyway? Like, I don't know, if this was me and I had a friend who wanted to stay over and they were a woman or something, I would just let them sleep in my bed and I'll sleep on the sofa. It's not that big of a deal, like, whatever. They need someone to crash, something happened. Hey, yeah, you can take my bed, no problem. I'll stay on the sofa. Here's a towel, whatever. You have your privacy, do your thing, and whatever. I'll be next door if you need me. Like, it's not that big of a deal, really. It isn't. Like, come on, bro. Like, what is all this shit? Like, what is this? Grown people, too, like over the age of 25, you're basically an adult. Like, allow it, please. I've had enough. My brain hurts every time I hear this sort of stuff. I really don't understand what's going on. I really don't, man. Honestly, I really, really, really don't. I think that's the thing, though, Alexander Martin. I think I am in the minority. And I think we all might be in a minority. Go on YouTube, go on TikTok, check the views of some of these platforms. Like, I forgot what that channel is. It's the whatever channel, right? The one where they have like a whole group of OnlyFans girls sitting there and one white dude. Look at the views that they get. Look at the views that Fresh and Fit get. Those things are super popular. People love talking about this sort of shit. So I think we are in a minority. I think most people love these fucking conversations. Honestly, it's so fucking exactly. Look, people saying in the comments. Yes, Oloni, it is. You're 30, you know the answer, love. You know the answer. You're 30. You know the answer, love. Exactly. Let common sense be the flower that grows in the garden of 2024. Why do you even have a best friend of opposite sex in a relationship? See you lot in 2025. Let all these dumb questions end this week, since it made its way into 2024. You know when kids don't want to go bed, so they make a stupid conversation with you about nothing? Mum, would you love me if I was a bed bug? This is what these silly conversations are giving. Exactly. Stratford Station question in 2024. So yeah, I'm glad there's some people out there who are agreeing with my sentiments, but I think the majority of people out there do enjoy these conversations. They bring them some level of joy. I don't necessarily know why, but for some reason they love it. They fucking love it. Next on the fucking conversation docket is this. Am I the only person that thinks stuff like this is one of the greatest lies ever told? And I don't know why this is. This is kind of similar to me, to like women who like unnecessarily lie about, you know, cosmetic surgery. I've never understood that thing. Like, I'd rather just take the fact that I did something to myself to the grave and not have to even talk about it than just lie, especially to other women, because other women and maybe gay people, they always can suss it out, right? They always can tell who got work done and who didn't get work done. So the idea that you would lie about it is very bizarre. But I find one of the greatest lies women ever tell is this lie, the lie that they somehow get turned off by guys that are in shape. It's like, huh? Why would you get turned off by a guy that's in shape? I think it's just a fun thing to say on the internet, but I don't think in real life it actually is true, because we've seen videos of what women do when a guy that walks into a room is really in shape and well put together. Do you know what I mean? They can't help but salivate, which is okay. It's perfectly fine. Same thing for a dude. If you see a woman walk down the street with a flipping massive ass, you just can't help but look. But this like blatant lying is just unnecessary. So this is courtesy to Shea Borough. This person is a doctor, allegedly, an MD, but again, it's Twitter. You can put whatever you want in your name. This person says in a tweet, I cannot say enough how this body type, is a picture of Andrew Tate, may be only attractive to gay men. So allegedly only gay men like guys who are in good shape. I have literally turned down dates with gym bros with ripped abs and in the past because I find this body type suggestive of an aggression and narcissism. I bet other women feel the same. What? So this woman is suggesting that because guys work out, that must mean they're abusers. That must mean they're narcissists, because they dare to what? Get themselves in shape. They dare to be healthy. They dare to try to transform their bodies. Or maybe, you know, try to look the best that they can look. That somehow means that they're aggressive and that they have narcissistic tendencies or something. Are you insane? If anything, this is probably some of those people I am imagining now speaking aloud or thinking aloud. This is probably one of those ladies that just probably doesn't like men anyway, which is perfectly fine. You can like and dislike who you want. You know, you can dislike people based on their genders. You can dislike people based on their sexuality. You can dislike people based on their fucking race. Whatever you want to do, hate as much as you want. Just don't cry when somebody slaps you in the face. That's all I've always said. Just don't cry when somebody slaps you up in the face. But clearly she's somebody that doesn't like men, which is perfectly fine. Do what you want to do. But then you can't just make these broad, sweeping generalizations when at the heart of it, the reason why you're saying this is because in general, she's probably a bit conflicted as to why she likes women, why she doesn't like women, but then doesn't know why she doesn't want to maybe date women to kind of get away from the men, but why the men that she's always attracts are the ones that she doesn't like. I think that could be a really hard place to kind of be and figure out. So I kind of get why she's, you know, a bit conflicted. But let's not lie. Let's not lie and act as if, like, you know, not being in shape is going to be a real difference maker for most dudes. Like, I think because, you know, most guys, we don't have makeup, right? So we don't really have a ways to kind of, you know, improve our face and our grills exponentially. We don't really have that. The only thing that guys really do have is what? Working out, haircuts, and beards, and maybe like style, and maybe as well smell and stuff. But we don't have anything cosmetically we could do that could really, you know, take us from looking like a 1 to a 10 really. So the things that we do have available, like the gym, like having a good haircut, like maybe growing your beard or something, whatever, making, you know, improving your personal hygiene, your skincare, all this stuff, we're going to obviously do it because it's going to increase your ability, or it's going to increase your options of who you can maybe eventually quote unquote date or hook up with in the future. So that makes complete sense. And who wouldn't want to be with somebody who kind of is able to kind of, you know, put themselves together in a particular way, who maybe does have a inkling of like self-discipline, who maybe is able to commit to a program, whatever maybe. That should probably show you that somebody, you know, that person is maybe a little bit serious. You know, they're taking their health serious, they're doing whatever they're doing. But I think maybe the real problem here is that she used maybe the, you know, the Andrew Tate picture as an example. Maybe there is something to be said for maybe just Andrew Tate being so toxic and women just not liking everything about him. Because I feel like Andrew Tate is like the white Kevin Samuels. I feel like, again, I'm not to be a bad man to say this, but I feel like if he ever does get put into prison, or if he ever does die or something, I feel like women online are going to be celebrating the way they celebrate Kevin Samuels. Because I really didn't know women didn't like Kevin Samuels until he died. When Kevin Samuels died, I was surprised to see how much hate they fucking had for Kevin Samuels. They were celebrating, they were jumping, you know, for joy when he passed away. So I think maybe because Andrew Tate is so toxic, women just don't like anything about him. But I have heard this common adage being described on the social media about straight guys, right? And sometimes there's some truth to it about people saying that most straight dudes are quite homoerotic in the stuff that they're into, from like the football, sport culture, to like the gym stuff, to hanging out with your boys all the time. There's something oddly homoerotic about like really, really straight men, which is kind of, you know, it's very insulting and rude and unnecessary, but maybe there is some truth to it. The next slide here shows a tweet of Andrew Tate going back to her saying, "I'm super disappointed that I'm not attractive to you, Kiriti. I was only trying to make my arms as big as your nose." Oof. Okay. He's kind of lame, innit? That's the thing about Andrew Tate. He is kind of lame. You can kind of understand why women don't like him. He's kind of fucking lame, isn't he? Like, what? I was only trying to make my arms as big as your nose. Is that the best you could do? Come on, bro, man. She destroyed everything about you. She called into question. She basically said because you lift weights that you're a fucking abuser. She destroyed all of us gym bros, right? She kind of buried all of us with that tweet. And the best you can do is say your arms are big as her nose. It's like, come on, man. You got to come harder than that. No pause, but you got to come harder than that. You really have to come harder. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? But I do think women that say this sort of stuff anyway, I'm not really into guys that work out too much. All the big muscles is just a bit too much for me. It's like, bro, maybe the majority of women don't actually get talked to by guys who are really in shape anyway. So you've never even experienced that. And if you do, I don't think a lot of women would actively try and turn it down because, you know, whatever. I have heard of women say, oh, I'm not into guys that play professional sports because it takes up too much time. And usually they're gonna not be able to, like, you know, drink and go out for dinners and stuff. That makes a lot of sense. If you're in a professional sports team, that makes a lot of sense. You know, why maybe that might be a red flag. But I think for the most part, looking after yourself and being in, you know, and taking care of your health shouldn't be a bad thing, really and truly. It should be maybe encouraged. We shouldn't get into a world where we're basically trying to push the whole fat acceptance things down men's mouths and stuff. that isn't cool. You know what I mean? If as a guy you want to provide and look after a woman who might be a bit big, then that's on you. But I think as a dude, you kind of owe it to yourself and to being the quote unquote protector and leader of your family or leader of the household to be in somewhat good physical shape so that you can look after them. You know, if any danger comes their way, you can actually step in there, you know, like a fucking human shield and obviously go down for them, you know, and obviously they won't thank you for it because you're dead, but at least you did it. You know what I mean? At least you fucking did it. At least you fucking did it. Moving on from that one. I quickly want to talk about this because I thought this was maybe, quite possibly, and seriously, one of, if not, the most stupid bits of controversy that I've ever seen detailed on the old timeline here. Let me see if I can get a hold of it. Bear with me a second if I can truly kind of find it here. I think most of you have probably seen it yourselves anyway. Let's see if I can get it. Bear with me a second. Again, if you're watching the stream and you enjoy what you're seeing, please make sure you like it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Like the stream down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you're watching the stream live, make sure to flip in like the stream as you're enjoying it. Make sure you do. That'd be greatly appreciated for the kid, for the boy, for your pal, for your Cody, and all of that good stuff. So if I can quickly get this up on here, let me just show you here what I was bloody talking about regarding this controversy, and we can continue. So this is it, right? There was this really dumb controversy that happened recently the other day regarding flipping Skepta, where he was accused of being somewhat, I guess, anti-Semitic because he used this picture on his up and coming single that's about to be, or for a single that I think that dropped the other day, actually, if I'm not mistaken, and to obviously start the rollout for his album that's meant to be coming out very soon. And people saw the single cover, and they immediately thought that he was basically taking the piss out of, you know, the Nazi concentration camps and the Jews that were unfortunately killed at that place, and the fact that some of them were marked, or most of them that obviously come to the concentration camps were marked in a certain way. And I think the picture itself originally featured a guy with a bald head that had a number of the words of his next single kind of tattooed on the back of his head, and people online were making it seem like that was, you know, an example of, it's kind of representative or similar to what happened to the Jewish people when they were kind of, you know, put in the concentration camps and shit, right? So he had to come out here and apologize for it, which is absolutely stupid. So this cut to the Shaber. It says Skepta issues a statement after fans allege that his album cover art resembles a holocaust. So as you can see here, his album cover for his for his single cover, not for the album cover, but the single, if I'm not mistaken, is called Gas Me Up, and it looks like a white kid with a shaved head, and it's got Gas Me Up written at the back of his head here in that font. So he had to apologize and take that picture down because people are upset about it. And it says here, he shared a mood board of what he was looking at when he was thinking of the flipping, you know, of the flipping artwork itself. And he wrote here a tweet: I can honestly see how my single artwork without context can be deemed as offensive, especially in a time like this. But again, that was not my intention. Yo, big up Richie, appreciate you.
Have you worn new Balenciaga flats for a rest drive yet? To the club or DJ'd in the Morgod in a fight yet?
One of those things has happened. Not the fight. One of those things has happened, Richie. One of those things has happened. Not the fight, but one of those things has happened. Not the fight, but they will be revealed very soon. Keep an eye out for them. They're going to be revealed, but one of those things has happened. Not the fight. I wasn't slipping all over the place. And again, no, not slipping. Let's continue. It says, yeah, I can honestly see how my single art, big up Richard, I appreciate you for the donation, brother. Thank you for that. I can honestly see how my single artwork without context can be deemed offensive, especially in this time. But after some thought, I don't feel like I could continue being an artist for you all. Let me actually go to the apology first. My bad. I'm doing this the wrong way around. So he actually did apologize for it at first, which if I can find the actual tweet itself, he actually did apologize for it, and then he kind of took it back. So I think he did apologize and he took it back, which was good because the apology was fucking stupid. It really was dumb. He should never have apologized, but he did actually apologize for it, and then he reversed his decision. So this is actually the apology itself, as you can see here on his tweet. I think he might post on his Instagram too. He first apologizes and says, "I've been waiting to drop Gas Me Up Diligent since teasing it in April last year. Worked hard getting the artwork right for my album rollout, which is about my parents coming to the UK in the 80s, skinhead, football culture, and it has been taken offensively by many. And I can promise you that I definitely not our plan, so I've removed it and I vow to be more mindful going forward." So he said what he said there. And then obviously he slept on it and realized, hold on, why am I fucking apologizing to the mob? Why am I bending and kowtowing to people when this is my expression? This is my art. And if anything, when it comes to art, all fucking apologies are off the table. There is nothing to apologize for, apart from maybe not doing the best job that you can do and not maybe giving your fans what they want. But apart from that, you shouldn't be apologizing for your fucking inspiration. You shouldn't be apologizing for the things that your body inspired by, or things that inform your artwork. You should always be trying to bring, basically show your best self through your art and what your fucking inspiration is about this whole thing. So he said what he said there, and then he decided to take it back, which I'm happy he did. And he said the following: "I can honestly see how my single artwork without context can be deemed offensive. Not my intention, but after some thought, I don't feel I could continue being an artist and you all know and love if my art is policed." I agree with that one. "I have to quit if I can't express my art as I see it. So to help the context, here are the pictures from the mood board for the 1980s UK story for my album Knife and Fork. Gas Me Up Diligently will be out on the 26th as planned." So he took it back. He was like, look, you're not going to try and make me feel bad for basically tapping into British culture, tapping into a rich history of British culture around skinheads, around fucking ska culture, around fucking, legendary bands, legendary movements, legendary subcultures that all informed my idea around this flipping album. Especially, like he said, if the album is based around the 1980s and his family moving to the UK around that sort of time, that's basically what the music was on fucking the radio, right? The specials and all this sort of malarkey playing there on a fucking constant basis. So it makes sense why he used that as inspiration. So I love the fact that he went back on the apology and basically told people to kind of suck on his fucking little minka, because why the fuck are you policing my art? And I think in general, the annoying thing about it is that more than likely the people he apologized to would have never bought his album anyway. That's the annoying thing when it comes to these apologies. It's not like you're apologizing to your actual fans who are offended, who get let down. You're usually apologizing to people that were never your fans, people that are just looking, that just have like an apology kink. They kind of get turned on by people, bending the knee, kissing them at their feet and asking for forgiveness. But your actual fans don't give a fuck. Your actual fans get you. Your actual fans understand. Your actual fans appreciate that because even like myself, I'm a big fan of Skepta, but I can't lie to say, maybe some of the Skepta albums from before, maybe his delivery, maybe his, subject matter has been a bit formulaic and been a bit boring. The fact that I've heard that the inspiration behind this album is what it is, about his parents moving to the UK at a certain time, about that time in history in the UK, and about maybe being a representative of, what it's like to be a Nigerian British person or whatever it may be. That's really interesting to me. I'm actually more interested to check out the album now that I've kind of learned about the inspiration behind it. But the ones who don't care about you are the ones that are going to try to get you to kowtow and bend the knee, because it's going to make them feel a little bit better about their fucking situation. But I've just always hated anyway that artists nowadays, especially in this kind of era that we're in, are forced to explain their art. And I've also hated the fact that artists nowadays are forced to fucking apologize for things when people get offended at the art that they do and put out there. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm glad to see Skepta decided to take it back and say, suck on my dick. Let me do my art the way I want to do it. And if you don't, I'll just quit and do something else, because this isn't worth it. And I really do agree with him. I really, really do agree with him. Moving on. Let's talk about this. This has been heating up the fucking social media waves since it absolutely happened. And I love everything about it because the conversation around it is really interesting, because everyone's got a different opinion. So this is courtesy of Cutting Room Floor, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the podcast is called. Let me give her a shout out because she's got a really good podcast. I think it's called Cutting Room Floor. I used to subscribe to it on normal fucking podcast platforms and stuff, but I think if I'm not mistaken, she's moved it to Patreon. Let's see if I'm mistaken here. It's called the Cutting Room Floor podcast. It's a really good podcast. It talks about fashion and shit. Yeah, this is what it's called. It's called The Cutting Room Floor. Sorry, my bad. I forgot the name of it. but it's called The Cutting Room Floor. It's hosted by a girl called Omondi. Omondi, is that her name yet? Omondi? No, hosted by a designer called Resha Omondi, I guess that's her name. Sorry, my bad. Fashion's only show is hosted by a fashion designer called Recho Omondi, and she does loads of really good interviews with random people and stuff in the industry and beyond. It's available obviously on Apple. You see the website here, but I think it's mostly on the behind a Patreon paywall. That's basically the best content you're going to get, but definitely check it out if you haven't already. But she did a really good interview and sat down with Yasiin Bey, aka Mos Def, and he really had some very interesting choice words about Drake. And I think his opinion about Drake is really interesting because I don't agree with it, but it has sparked a lot of conversation on social media regarding if Drake is hip hop or not. So let's play the clip.
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Drake is pop to me, in the sense like if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's you know,
music,
shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course, I mean,
It's
get
commercial, entertaining, fun, good,
it's
formulaic music.
It's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it? You know, I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
Woo! So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling, where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom-poms?
I completely understand. Banging the pom-poms is crazy when most of his audience are banging their backpacks and their tambourines listening to fucking, you know, Mos Def. They're fucking banging their incense on their lap when they're listening to him, innit? It's funny that he says banging their pom-poms, bro. Like, what? Most people are banging their fucking, you know, their Nike boots. They're banging their fucking lugs. They're banging their beat up Timberlands listening to you, mate. Do you know what I mean? No one listening to fucking Mos Def in 2024, not even 2023 or fucking prior years. So he's talking out of his ass there. But you know what this made me think about? This made me think about this. You know what's really funny? This reminds me why The Weeknd, when he decided to make that pivot into being a pop star, I get it. Because me being a big Weeknd fan, I followed his career from the beginning. House of Balloons era, mixtape era, talking about coke and fucking models and shit and not showing his face. I love that version of The Weeknd. But there was a distinct moment, I think it was around Kissland, when he put out the album Kissland, that The Weeknd made a concise effort to pivot and be more of a pop star. He started writing with that guy, I think his name is like Max Martin or something. He's a really popular pop writer who's done a lot of great work with, like, you know, the Ariana Grandes, the Justin Biebers, you know, all these other people he's kind of made incredible hits for. And The Weeknd started to work with him more and kind of evolved his sound, because I think he realized that R&B as a genre, same like hip hop, is very constraining. It kind of doesn't allow people to have range. It doesn't allow people to experiment. It doesn't allow people to go and try new things. And it doesn't allow people to go explore different sounds or to reach a wider audience. It honestly is very limiting in terms of its scope, which is really annoying, because hip hop in general, especially in the last few years, has been the #1 music genre in the world, right? So if you're the #1 music genre in the world, my argument would be, if that's true, shouldn't it be the case that technically most artists within that genre are then considered pop because it's the popular music? If hip hop is the number one genre in the music in the world, it's the most listened to genre, and all the kids are listening to it, all the mums, all the dads, whatever it may be, of all walks of all walks of life, all shapes, all colors and creeds. Couldn't it be argued that every top rapper within hip hop is technically pop? That could be the case, isn't it? But then I go back to the whole tenets of hip hop. The tenets of hip hop are what? Graffiti, breakdancing, DJing, and rapping. I don't think you could say Drake isn't hip hop just because he makes music that's very popular. Because at his core, in I think every single Drake album, regardless of what it is, even fucking Certified Lover Boy, there's at least one record where he's just rapping his ass off. He already has one record rapping. One of the things that's kind of holding Drake back around being the whole hip hop thing and people not liking him is mostly to do with the whole allegations of him having ghostwriters. But when it comes to him actually writing and being an actual rapper, he's shown us in every single album he's dropped ever since he came out that he can rap with the best of them. He can out-rap most of them. Just recently, he put out a fucking, what was it, a 6-track EP or an add-on onto his recent album that was mostly produced by The Conductor and The Alchemist, and a few other people as well had production credits on there, where he's just rapping his ass off. Most of the tracks don't even have choruses. He's just barring. He's just going bar for bar for bar, verse for verse for verse until the end of time. So the fact that he can put out that album off the back of people not liking the album when it first dropped, right? People didn't like that. What was that fucking album even called? I fucking forgot now, and I'm being a Drake fan, and I forgot what the album is called. I think that kind of says it all. But For the Dogs, when For the Dogs came out, everybody hated it, right? Everybody panned it, said it wasn't good. Then he decided, okay, cool, you guys want more rapping? He puts out For the Dog Scary Hours. He puts out an additional, I think, is it 6 tracks at the end? Is it 6? Yeah, 6 tracks where he's just rapping his absolute face off and absolutely fucking, tearing most people apart, sneak disses here and there, and reminding everybody that he can actually rap. That's the funny thing about this whole conversation. But I think in general, what this is at the case of, the heart of this issue is this. This is what I think. I think at the heart of this issue is that a lot of the older rappers in hip hop are jealous. I think they're jealous, but I think they don't want to admit it. I don't know why being jealous of somebody isn't necessary. I won't say it's a good thing, but I think being jealous of somebody in his position makes sense. Mos Def is one of the most decorated, well-respected, technically proficient, high-level rappers in hip-hop history, right? He is amazing, one of the best rappers ever. But unfortunately, the era that he grew up in, the era that he came up in, hip-hop wasn't the most dominant music genre out there, right? He wasn't able maybe to pop and blow the way his talent deserved him to be. Maybe it's partly him, maybe it's with the industry, whatever it may be. He didn't necessarily make it to the heights he probably should have made it to, despite his unapologetic, undeniable talent. So when things change, and then this guy comes around, this mixed race dude who can sing, who can rap, or whatever that all the girls like and shit, and he starts to make more money than you've ever made in your entire career in a short space of time. He's breaking all the records, and he's doing it almost with ease. I think that's the allegation that Joe Budden was having at Drake, and he was screaming at Drake on his podcast because Joe Budden as an artist could see and could feel that Drake was kind of going through the motions. And maybe he did admit it, I think, with a couple of interviews with Elliot Wilson himself, but this guy is making more money than Mos Def has made his entire career, and Drake is considerably younger than Mos Def. So of course you'd have some level of jealousy that you think you're better than him technically, right? You're better than him technically, but then he's making more money than you. I think it's perfectly fine to say you're jealous. You should be okay. I think maybe envy might be the more toxic and destructive feeling to have, emotion to have, envy. But I think jealousy in terms of like, hey, I'm also good at this thing. I wish I could be making the money that he's making. I wish I could be that famous. That should be an okay thing to admit. But maybe that is where we're getting what we're getting. Maybe the jealousy has kind of seeped into envy, where you actually are despising the fact that this guy has become so successful. Because when I'm listening to him speak, yes, there's some fair critique, but I'm sensing a lot of hate. It seems to come from a place where they had some sort of disagreement in the past. My assessment, or my kind of, if I had to guess what's happening here, and when it comes to Drake, it always kind of revolves around girls. So I think most likely this has to do with some woman. This has to do either with a woman Drake fucked that he didn't know that was attached with Mos Def. This might have to do with all Mos Def's bitches always talking about Drake whenever they're at dinner. Because one thing you don't want to do as a man, you don't want to ever seem like you're jealous in front of girls. So you try and play it off. So imagine you're at dinner, right? And you're with your girls, right? And they're just talking about the new Drake album. Oh my God, do you see what Drake posted? Oh my God, do you see his new album? Oh my God, do you see what he was wearing the other day? You don't want to act like it's annoying you, but it is annoying you. So maybe that's what's the case here. Maybe he is fed up of all of his girls, all his fucking, you know, all these bitches that he's been smashing on the road or when he's at these fashion shows are the ones that keep constantly talking about this guy, and he hates him, but he doesn't want to say it. So he keeps it bottled in. Then the moment this, this host asked him the question, it all came out to the surface and he absolutely exploded, because this doesn't sound like somebody being critical. This just sounds like somebody that's hating, because that's the thing that I am disappointed in this, because I feel like there needs to be more conversations like this anyway. We need to have a return to criticism and critique in culture in general. We're missing it in the arts. We're missing critique. We're missing conversations like this where people can really break down and dissect, somebody's artistry and maybe, push back on the narrative around them or maybe offer a different opinion. We're missing that. But unfortunately nowadays, I don't know why it is the case. A lot of people that critique, a lot of people that talk about this sort of stuff, they can't help but sound like it's hate, They can't help but sound like it's hate. So even though this is kind of coming from a real place, there is maybe some truth to what he's saying. I think the basis of all of this comes from a place where he legitimately doesn't like Drake for a reason that's unbeknown to us at the moment. And it doesn't have to do with music. It doesn't have to do with the fact that Drake makes popular music. And like I said before, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Drake has told us from the beginning that he wants to be the rapper for everybody. He wants to be as big as possible. He does all these references to, different countries and different cultures and different scenes because he's inspired by all these things. He just doesn't want to be like, pigeonholed and stuck in one lane. He wants to kind of broaden his horizons. But I think in general, hip hop is very, very constraining in that regard. That's why I understand why Lil Yachty says what he says, because hip hop people are really, really dogmatic. They're really boring. They're really stuck in their ways. They don't really allow you to kind of explore and do what you want to do. It has to be done within their accepted kind of, barriers and stuff. You can't actually just go and do your own thing and be free. You kind of have to do things based on what they think is good hip hop or not good hip hop. But like I said before, I just think it's a bit insulting and a bit dismissive to Drake's, his discography, his artistry, his talent, to say that he's just a target rapper or something. Because if he's a target rapper, what's Taylor Swift? If he's target in hip hop, what the fuck is Taylor Swift? And Taylor Swift is like 3 times more popular as fucking Drake. How does that make any sense? And if Drake is target, what's Kendrick Lamar then? Kendrick Lamar is one of the most popular fucking hip hop rappers out there. He performs at some of the biggest European, mostly white-based festivals known to man. Those guys and girls in the crowd sing his fucking lyrics from word to word. Same goes for fucking J. Cole. Same goes for Nicki Minaj. Like, are these people fucking target as well? Because they happen to be popular. And why is that a bad thing? Doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe because no one's listening to Mos Def, Yasiin Bey in 2024 is a different conversation. But the idea that it's a bad thing to be popular, it's a bad thing to have a big fan base, it's a bad thing to have a wide appeal, it's a bad thing to have most people like what you do is odd. That's what happens when you're the best. That's what happens when you're the number one person. But this is probably, again, another reminder why maybe Drake does kind of, walk around the way he walks around and kind of keeps to himself and stuff. Because in the background, a lot of these older dudes, a lot of these dusty guys, they are inherently jealous. They're inherently jealous that he was able to, crack the code and break it the way he did. And we already see it even with Kanye. I love Ye, but the way Ye was hating on Drake from the beginning was odd. The kind of, their kind of off and on relationship was fucking bizarre. But at the heart of it, what you felt was like, Kanye just couldn't, get to terms or come to grips with the fact that Drake was kind of maybe, stepping on his toes a bit. He was becoming that kind of go-to guy that he used to be, right? When kids or the girls would come around and they want to put on some new tunes, they wouldn't be trying to put on a new Kanye, they want to put on a new Drake. So maybe that kind of can eat away at a soul. Maybe there's something about an artist. Again, I haven't made music myself, just only DJs. But maybe there's something about being an artist where if you're in a room and you make, music and shit, you want people kind of talking about your stuff. you don't want them kind of gushing about another person, especially if you think you're more talented. Maybe that's what that is the case, but in general, I think this was incredibly disrespectful, incredibly mean-spirited, incredibly unnecessary. And if anything, it kind of took away from the point that he was making, which is kind of a good point to talk about when it comes to Drake's legacy and shit, right? Of like, you know, would he be remembered as a hip hop great, or would he be remembered more like as a pop star and stuff? There's an actual good conversation to be had there, but you know, this guy's hate blanketed it all. So, you know, I don't want to hear him crying, complaining. If Drake does come out and bar him to death, I don't want to hear this guy crying. I don't want to hear him backpedaling and trying to fucking apologize for this shit. Stand on your shit. You know, you're an old hating ass guy. You said what you said. It's kind of cool. Whatever. Everyone laughed, and let's kind of move on from there. But I don't agree with him at all. I don't agree with him at all. I think, if anything, Drake has shown us in the last few years that he has the range to do the hip hop thing. He has the range to go and tap in with the kids. He has a range to make formulaic hits, records that just, you know, transcend hip hop and shit. I don't think that's a bad thing. Hip hop should always be an opportunity for people who maybe can't get in other genres, it should be an opportunity for people to bring that sound to the masses, really and truly, in whatever guise that they can bring it in. I don't think it's a bad thing that maybe, you know, all the biggest hip hop stars in the world aren't boom bap type of artists. Like, I don't think just because you don't make music that is primarily 808s based, that's mainly boom bap, that doesn't mean you're hip hop. The fact that you rap over fucking instrumentals should really make you hip hop regardless. But again, maybe that's a conversation for another day. But this idea that you can't be hip hop because what you sing in the chorus, because you have a lot of like women fans, because you're really popular, is like, how are you trying to punish me for having a fan base? How are you trying to punish me for, you know, for being good at what I do? It's like, I don't know. I think it's bizarre. I think it's odd. I think it's bizarre. I'd much rather people just, you know, say they don't like him for it's just not your taste, then try to justify it with like, oh yeah, I'm only into real hip hop. I'm only into this. It's like, bro, when's the last time you listened to a fucking Mos Def record? Honestly, most people on the internet, when's the last time they actually played a Mos Def record? Like, come on, man. Let's be real, man. People just out here chatting the most shit for the most part, just to kind of appear like they listen to certain things. But when the fucking Spotify rap, again, people talk about right, all this shit, especially when it comes to Drake. But when that Spotify rap comes out and all the normies are out there posting their end of year, you know, stats of what they listen to, guess who's always in people's top fives? Even though they swear he's a loser, he's too soft, he's zesty, all this stuff. Guess who's in everyone's top five all the time? Bitch, you guessed it, Drake. So most people are out here lying. Most people are out here fucking lying. That's the name of the game here. Most people are out here lying. That's my opinion. But again, I could be wrong. I'm probably not wrong because I never am, but I probably could. You never know. You never bloody know. Moving on here. So I'm somebody who likes to give people chances. I'm somebody who is very accepting, very inviting, very enthusiastic about this entire shift in fashion that's happening, where you're seeing people from the streetwear world, people that don't really have any experience within working in fashion, basically taking these amazing jobs at the top of the fashion industry. It's really inspiring, because I feel like for people like myself who maybe don't have access to some of these big brands, who maybe don't have access to certain bits of information, education, whatever it may be, to be able to see people that look like you, that come from the same scene, that are into the same shit that you're into, take a t-shirt, take a hoodie, take a baseball cap, take some trainers, take some jeans and a small brand, and take that to suddenly be designing for the biggest fashion houses out there and displaying their wares during Paris Fashion Week. That's inspiring, right? That is really inspiring, and it probably inspires thousands, if not millions, of kids out there to know that they can do it too. That they can do it too. They can do it too if they put their mind and heart to whatever they're doing. But I have to say, and I have to pat myself on the back here, I did say when Pharrell got appointed as the successor for Virgil Abloh, because of his untimely passing, RIP to him, as the Louis Vuitton men's creative director, I did say at the time, this isn't going to end well. because I have never seen Pharrell design anything that I think was conducive or would kind of give him any sort of credence to be a good designer at Louis Vuitton. Because in my thinking, the last time he actually designed anything decent was when Nigo was still involved in Billionaire Boys Club. Because if you're not aware, when Nigo and Pharrell linked up, essentially Pharrell and Nigo and Skatething, which was the original illustrator and graphic designer for Bape, they were all involved, in some other white guy too. I forgot his name. The white guy, I think that does Cavempt. He was also involved. So there's a lot of people that were involved in making Billionaire Boys Club and Ice Cream and all this stuff really, really popular and really good back in the day. Because if you see old Billionaire Boys Club and you compare it to what they make nowadays, it's night and day. And mostly it's because of Nigo's obviously not involved in the design anymore. He's busy with Human Made and Kenzo and all the other stuff he's doing, and obviously Skatething as well is probably doing his own thing as well. Maybe they can't afford him, who knows. But there was a whole entire group of people, from the guy at Cavempt, from Skatething, from Nigo, all involved in helping him do his brand. But since then, he's never actually done anything, I don't think, design-wise that would make you believe he's a good fashion designer. Maybe one of his more iconic pieces that he made was that bulletproof down vest thing that he did with Moncler back in the day. There's been a few collaboration one-off pieces here and there, but in terms of a full collection, in terms of a spring summer show, an autumn show, a resort show, collaborations, over 50 looks, I don't think he's got any range to show you that he could do it. And I think this is a good example as to why this relationship with Louis Vuitton is going to end in tears, because I feel like this is the most basic, devoid of any real inspiration, of any real design talent piece that he's ever put out, really. And it's only 2 or 3 seasons in, and he's already doing shit like this. So this is according to Hypebeast. It says, pack your lunch in Pharrell Williams's Louis Vuitton sandwich bag. Now, this has been done to death by many companies out there, by many fashion brands. We've seen this kind of, taking the everyday item and obviously luxing it up and turning it into something very, luxurious, very expensive, very high quality, wherever it may be. But I just think this being so easily be done by somebody on Instagram stories or something, some random customizer person could have easily done this, and the fact that this is such a fucking an easy layup to kind of do, and he did it, I think for me is a good example as to why this relationship with Louis Vuitton is probably going to end in tears. Because if you're already reaching for these type of designs and you're only 2 or 3 seasons in, this is probably proof that you're already running out of ideas. He's already running out of ideas. This is where he's going. If he's already pulling for these references and putting out these shopping bags, and I saw there was another fucking post I saw somewhere where he's made a leather croc version of the actual shopping bag. So the actual Louis Vuitton shopping bag, that's obviously in that same sort of like orange burnt brown sort of colorway. He also made a version of that shopping bag, and he just made it in a leather material. So took the same shopping bag that is obviously given to you when you purchase stuff in Louis Vuitton, in like that cardboardy paper type material, and he's basically just changed it. I think he made it into croc or some sort of high quality leather. So the fact that he's doing this now at this point, for me, is proof that the guy has no clue what he's doing, and it's probably going to end in tears sooner rather than later. Again, maybe the sales will be quite good in terms of the accessories, because that's what people always say about Louis Vuitton. They don't really care about their ready to wear. The accessories is where they make most of their money. But I think in general, this stuff is going to be so forgetful, so bad, that people are going to be sitting there thinking, you know what, maybe Kid Super was actually a better option. And I fucking hate Kid Super, but maybe Kid Super actually could have grown into the role and actually put out better runway collections. Because so far, the runway collections I've seen, apart from the first one, have been absolutely terrible. Personally, for me, very forgettable. Maybe there's a few pieces. There's a jacket. There's a couple of jackets. There's a couple of shirt and pant kind of combination tracksuit type of things that look decent. There might have been a certain decent hat. I still think the hat that Rocky was given, the one with the pearls, the little beanie, that's amazing. The matching denim suit is really cool. The skirt from the first collection was really nice, as was the loafers and the socks and shit. But apart from that, there wasn't really a lot from the collection that you were pining for and that you really wanted. A lot of it was kind of basic. And I think, again, like I said before, the fact that he's already reaching for these references, right, the lowest hanging fruit, is already proof to me that he's already run out of ideas. So this is courtesy of Hypebeast. It says Pharrell's debuted Louis Vuitton in June 2023, inviting guests to experience an unforgettable night in Paris Fashion Week. The pixelated range was a funky and bold and grounded in everyday streetwear. Even that pixelated collection, I think it got panned unfairly. I quite like the pixelated camo stuff that he did, but even that, now people are now kind of panning and obviously turning, changing their mind in real time. So even with some of the fashion glitterati, it hasn't really aged well when it comes to references. It continues. Smooth leather textiles dominated the range, migrating into the accessories line with an eye of surrealism. Williams' first collaboration begins to land on shelves. We receive a closer look at the runway debuted sandwich bag. The design mimics Louis Vuitton's 10 shoppers, given the folded opening for the easy lunch. Lunch access elsewhere raise Louis Vuitton letterings on the midpoint and on the pull tab. So I think the finish of it is kind of questionable, personally, for me. I think the finish of it is kind of questionable, especially around here. Like, are these bits actually cut properly? Did they get folded differently? I'm not too sure. Is that strap actually centered? I don't know. Is the strap actually centered? I don't know. Could it have been made a bit differently to maybe mimic a bit of tape, to maybe mimic something different as the kind of fastening? Because I feel like it looks a bit strange. The font on the fucking itself, with it being raised the way it is, I'm not really too sure that was the right decision either. It kind of makes it look a bit weird from the when you zoom out. I think maybe having them embossed and then maybe having them colored and then actually them wearing in over time would have actually looked a lot better. I don't think you need this thing to kind of look new all the time when you're wearing it. Actually, the more beat up it does look, the more worn it looks. It probably would actually, like this Maison Fondé on 1854 Paris at the back, how it's been embossed. I think you should obviously have that logo in the front the same. I think that was actually how it actually worked better. But I think all these choices, again, are very questionable, but lend to me the idea that this guy is already running out of ideas. And talking about running out of ideas, look at this shit. He also designed these Timberland boots. So we're already getting these really crass, obvious bait, trend-driven collaborations from Pharrell at Louis Vuitton. And I'm already bored of it. Like, even the cut of the jeans, the boot cut on the jeans, the Timberland Louis Vuittons, like, come on, bro. Timberland's, the fucking aesthetic of a Timberland, and that being in trend with all the kids online, with some of the Gen Z kids like to wear big pants and big boots, that's already dying. He's already, like, what, a couple of years late with the Timberland thing, it feels like. Like, and again, you'd think if you're a fashion brand, you're the one that's dictating the trends. You're not copying the trends. You're the one that's kind of pushing things forward. And again, say what you want to say about Demna at Balenciaga, but at least Demna at Balenciaga has a very distinctive silhouette. He has a very specific taste, a very specific point of view that he's obviously putting out there when he does Balenciaga. With this sort of stuff that, Pharrell's doing, the pants, that kind of boot cut, flared style is already kind of played out, right? Even I have jeans that cut like that and I don't even wear them myself. The Timberland big boot thing is kind of played out also for me personally. I feel like that is also something that kind of needs to kind of get, I'm kind of bored of it, move on, especially the fact that these are probably going to drop when a few seasons down the line, not a few seasons, but maybe a couple of seasons down the line. They're not something that's maybe imminently about to drop. I'm not really too sure, but I do think this is another example. Big up Richie, appreciate you.
Okay, can we Livy stream the fall winter show on the 16th? It will be his third show. Yay, I purchased 4 camouflage pieces and a Speedy 25. The line looks good in person. The Tims I'll stick to regular 6 in.
yeah. Big up you. Yeah, that camo stuff is the best stuff. The camo and the bag that you bought, I think the bag is called the Speedy. And like I said, the beanie that A$AP Rocky wore with the pearls, the matching denim jacket. There's actually, I don't know if he put it out. There's a Louis Vuitton M65 that he made. I don't know if he's put it out yet, but I remember when he got announced as the designer for Louis Vuitton, he was pictured wearing this amazing green velvet M65 with like a white shearling collar or something that looks fucking stupendous. That was really nice. But most of it not for me really, but big up Richie though. Appreciate you for the donation, brother. And yeah, for sure, we'll definitely watch the live show on the 16th. Paris Fashion Week is about to begin, so I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams of fashion shows and stuff and putting that out there as well for the content and whatnot. So big up you. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the Timberlands. I think they're lazy. I think they're uninspired. I think they're just whatever. And if anything, they're a bit late in the whole trend because people have already kind of moved on with the whole fucking Timberland thing anyway. There's actually another post here where somebody posted more details of the Timberland to kind of see what it looks like, and they actually look, you know, I guess the details do actually help in terms of what they look like to kind of give them a little bit more of an edge, because if I'm not mistaken, the soles are even got the Louis Vuitton print on them. Let's see if I get, I think it's here. The actual sole himself have got the Louis Vuitton print, so you kind of get to, you know, step on the snow and get the flipping monogram print all over them as well. And if I'm not mistaken, the actual upper themselves have also been embossed, so you've got the added detail of the Louis Vuitton monogram here on the underside of the tongue. You've got the Louis Vuitton logo on the outside of the tongue as well with the Timberland logo. And if I'm not mistaken, if you look closely here, there's also loads of Louis Vuitton little embossing bits here and there. But again, like I said, it just feels late. It feels tired. The Timberland thing is kind of tired and done, and they're still going for it. Okay, they haven't got the other picture, but there's another picture here somewhere where you can see the sole of it, but you know, who cares of it? I'll maybe put that in later, but there's another picture where you can see the actual underside, and the underside of the shoes actually got the actual print, so you can kind of see what it looks like when you kind of step around and shit. But for me, I didn't really like it. I think it was kind of formulaic, a little bit too easy and whatever, and I'm not really for it. No thank you. No flipping thank you. That's what I have to say about that regarding you. Moving on from that one, let's quickly talk about this. So this is courtesy of Vogue. This is a courtesy of Vogue. It says, so let me get the screen up on here, bear with me a second, apologies here. It says courtesy of Vogue. It says Palace founder on his new role as creative director of Fila Plus. So this is courtesy of Vogue. Really big news regarding Fila. It says another day, another new creative director. I thought this is dictatorship. Okay, directorship. Okay, my bad. I thought this said dictatorship. Another day, another new creative directorship in fashion, and we predict this new recruit might be among the most inspired hires of 2024. Following 15 years of building his London skate startup Palace into one of the most recognizable and rascally brands in streetwear, taking on the surprising side hustle today, he's been named as creative director of the 113-year-old Italian sportswear brand Fila for the new elevated offshoot Fila Plus. In a statement issued this morning, Fila Global Brand President Todd Klein, we are thrilled to welcome him as creative director of Fila Plus. His forward-thinking approach is aligned with our mission and innovative while honoring Fila's legacy as a premium sportswear brand. The owner of Palace says that he's been offered the creative roles before and done a little under the line in consulting. This is the first offer that he intrigued him enough to buy it. He says at Fila Archive, I was really inspired. There were so many things about the brand I didn't know about. It's incredible. I love sportswear. I love making clothes, and I feel like really comfortable and the people interested in the brand. So I thought, okay, great. The dividing time between London will be running Palace and home of Fila in Milan. There'll be a show to be shown to buyers next week. Really? It's already been designed then. This will be shown to buyers in Paris next weekend. God damn, it's already been done. What was I saying? Fila Plus Studio for the last 5 months as it shapes the debut collection. The plan is to distribute the collection across e-commerce partners, department stores, and selected brand boutiques. One indication of Fila's confidence in a new offshoot, which is being produced in Milan's 247 group, is that it was signed off on a newly updated version of the F-Box logo, originally designed by Sergio Privitera back in 1973. I'm assuming that's that new logo there, right, with the green and red there. It says here, for me, Italy stands for all things stylish, and I want Fila's rich Italian heritage to be at the heart of Fila Plus. Working to distribute through a wholesale model instead of direct to consumer. Really? There's not going to be direct to consumer? It's going to be sold wholesale? That's a bit dumb, isn't it? something new for the calendar. The presentation process in Paris next week is completely different and not something I've done before. That's exciting. I'm learning. Fila Plus is conceived as a progressive heritage brand, looking back to the step forward, and has 113 years of heritage. I've always designed by exploring things that I just really like, touching on the old and bringing something new. I'm also very excited about the opportunity to do footwear. I'm updating, doing some modern takes on certain things. This presented with an abundance of material to riff on, like the tracksuit silhouette. One icon he considered while shaping his debut is George Michael. I couldn't believe how much Fila popped up in watching Wham documentary. So with this, going back to my English roots, Fila sports affiliation, Grant Hill, Ferrari, Swedish tennis player, blah, 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 blah. Performance serves as inspiration. One focus, he says, with White Rock mountaineering range was designed by Fila, Pierluigi Orlando. Watching the archive videos is amazing to realize how much of the archive he did of the sport. He said that there will be no current plans for cross pollinate Fila Plus and Palace, but he added that he has dedicated parallels between the two. A lot of the advertising from the 90s reminded me of what we do, and there's a lot of humor in that, and I recognize it. I designed both the idea of the collection and the way in which I would see it marketed. I'm the dedicated and gnarly customer. I love clothes and the things that other people make, but also my taste and the direction I tend to go in bold and a bit funny. Clothes are important, I love them, but I want to be having fun doing it. So far, it's been great. The people here are friendly. I just love being in Italy. It's something I really enjoy doing a lot. So interested to see how this develops. But again, just to kind of put out, I think there's some archive footage here, so you can see some bits and pieces. It's going to be dropping sometime next week, I guess they're saying here. So let's continue and kind of give my kind of review. So I've made no secret about how much I fucking hate Palace, right? I detest the brand because of my one fucking measly experience bumping into the founder themselves and thinking he's a bit of a cunt, and I've never worn the brand since then. So my bias and my hate for the brand to one side, this is a really good hire. No word of a lie. This is a really good hire. Fila has been languaging and suffering and dead for a while, the same way that Reebok has, the same way that Umbro has been in terms of sportswear. No one's really checking for Fila in any really meaningful way. They might be able to drop a couple of retros here and there that kind of galvanize people, that kind of spark interest. The first thing that I think of when it comes to Fila and what they've done in recent years, I can think of was maybe a collaboration with Gosha Rubczynski. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he did a couple of pieces when he was out here kind of pushing his stuff and whatnot, and that kind of was like a big thing, and that kind of brought Fila back for a while. And then the other thing that I remember Fila being kind of back in the culture and spoken about highly was the Disruptor shoe. I don't know if you guys remember that Disruptor shoe that was popping around like what, 2017, 2018, 19, I'm not really sure what year it was, but there was a period in time where every hipster girl in London, especially Italian and Spanish girls, loved this fucking Fila Disruptor. One of the worst, probably one of the most ugliest shoes ever known to man, but somehow this fucking shoe kind of, caught the imagination of young girlies in London or major cities within the Western Europe or Western world, and they seem to fucking love these. But apart from this, no one else really kind of speaks about Fila, which is really unfortunate, because if you think about Fila and you think about their rich history, the fact that they're obviously a 100-plus-year-old sportswear brand, the fact that they have an incredible archive of stuff, they have loads of history within basketball, they have loads of history within running, they have loads of history within sportswear. There's obviously the tennis angle. What else I was thinking about? There's obviously the era I can think of around maybe like the 90s and stuff, when I forgot what the genre is called, but there was a particular kind of brand of electronic music in Spain. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's really fast. The tempo is like 140 BPM or something, or maybe it's kind of in Valencia or something. But there was an era around that time where that music was really popular, and a lot of the kids in that scene would wear a lot of Fila. Tracksuits, whatever it may be, shoes, t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff. So there's a lot of ties with Fila when it comes to that 90s rave kind of dance scene and whatnot, sportswear, tennis, obviously rock climbing and outdoor ACG type of stuff. There's a lot of archive things in that. So I'm pretty sure if you go into the archives at Fila and you really dig through and you have the ability to kind of, open the fucking library over there and kind of pour over all the books and the old fucking catalogs and videos and advertising bits and pieces, you could actually put together a really good collection. And considering Fila's coming from doing absolutely nothing in the last few years, he doesn't need to do much. You know, the kind of scope to be a success at Fila isn't that, you know, it's not that difficult of a job to not get right, because they've been languishing in a state of irrelevancy for a while. So if you're able to put together a decent set of tracksuits, a decent collection of tracksuits, a decent jacket, you know, some decent footwear comes out from it, it's going to completely galvanize and revive that brand, you know, easily. So I can definitely understand what's happening. And this also makes sense as well, because recently I felt like, again, I don't really check for Palace stuff anymore anyway, but the stuff that I have seen, especially the collaborations, has felt really tired and really boring and really uninspired. So maybe if you are a fan of the brand, this is actually a good thing, because this might actually get them to be a little bit more inspired. It might kind of spark a bit of creativity in them to try and kind of revive the brand and bring it back into some level of relevancy again, because they've kind of suffered because of maybe of their success, maybe because of their expectation level. I'm not really too sure, but it hasn't necessarily been the same as it was in the past. So I think, if anything, again, my hate for the brand itself to one side, I do think this is a really good appointment, and I think it will be a success. If anything, it's a real shame that they had to, you know, they couldn't just figure it out themselves. It kind of shows you just how clueless a lot of these brands and these big companies are. Even though they have all this rich history, you know, they've been in the game for a while, they don't really know what to do and how to kind of, you know, tap into the current zeitgeist and talk to the kids and kind of make stuff that people want. They just don't know how to do it. So maybe if you go out there and you tap into some of the hottest brands out there that have the biggest customer base, that know what they're doing, maybe they have a better understanding of knowing how to kind of, you know, take the stuff that you already do and kind of just, you know, highlight it and elevate it a certain level. Because I'm sure most of the stuff that's going to be designed is already stuff that's already existed in their archives, and they're just going to, you know, do some extra touches, sprinkle some of their magic on it, and then of course represent it in a modern way. And then Bob's your uncle, Granny's your aunt. So I can go from, you know, the activations to the campaigns to the, you know, the videos to the marketing material to maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff we'll see. It's all going to add to elevate and take Fila onto the next level. So I'm definitely sure this will be a success. Fila Plus is definitely going to be a success. But, you know, me with my, you know, self-imposed boycott of anything associated with this guy in Palace, I'm never wearing it. But I do think it's going to be a success, and it's going to absolutely do really fucking well. And if anything, this might be a wake-up call for brands like Reebok, for brands like Umbro, for brands like Puma to get their fucking act together and actually hire somebody who can maybe revive their brands too. This might do it. This might do it. Big up.
Also,
Richie.
Burberry Daniel Lee issues a low profit gain due to slow sales due to luxury slowdown. Maybe it's the prices and designs, Daniel. Not looking good for Burberry. It's sad. Bring Ricardo back and make Aunt Naomi.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to see Daniel Lee's demise. I'm not gonna lie, because I believe he did say what he said to that young lady during his time at Bottega Veneta about calling her a black bitch or something along those kind of lines. I believe that happened. I don't believe that was a lie. I don't believe that was a rumor made to kind of make him look bad. He's not that important. He's just some random dude that designs clothes. No one fucking knows who he is outside of people that are into fashion. So the idea that people would make up this contrived lie to make him look bad is dumb. I think he did say it, but I think because he's so valuable and he's so quote unquote talented and he had a name, people swept under the rug, which is really annoying, because I'm not really for cancelling. I don't really like cancel culture. I think it's fucking lame, but please let the rules, or please let the cancel culture rules apply to everybody the same way. If some people don't get cancelled for certain things because they're talented, also let that extend to other people. But it doesn't happen that way. They kind of bend the rules and make exceptions and pick and choose for certain people based on who they like. And it's annoying, of course, because other people could never get away with what he gets away with. So he got away with it. He didn't, you know, nothing bad happened to him. And then he basically went for Bottega Veneta, which is odd, isn't it, right? The last 2 or 3 collections at Bottega, the one that he did in fucking Detroit, the one that was hosted in fucking Berghain, were fucking shit. Absolutely terrible. And now we know why, because by that time Matteo Blasi had already left, Blasi had already left, and some other people already left too behind the scenes because no one liked Daniel Lee and didn't like working with him. These are white people too, by the way, not just black people. White people that worked with him didn't like working with him and they left. That obviously explained why the collections were terrible. He fucking got fired, or no, he got let go or fired, whatever happened, and he walked straight into Burberry. That was like a good wake-up call of like, fuck, bro. In fashion, they really do pick and choose, innit? They really do pick and choose who they decide, you know, guess what and guess whatever. Because he was not even deserving of getting that Burberry job. Even though Riccardo Tisci did a terrible job before him, he had no business walking straight into Bottega Veneta doing a poor job there and then walking straight to Burberry. And obviously now the Burberry thing is kind of dying. Maybe it's just the prices, because I think the clothes are actually quite good. I'm not gonna lie, as much as I don't like Daniel Lee as a person, I think the clothes are actually quite good. He's actually designing probably the best he's designed in recent years at Burberry, but the prices are just, they're obscene, bro. The prices make fucking Celine look like Stussy. The prices make Phoebe Philo stuff look like fucking Stussy. The prices are fucking crazy, and I don't know why they did that. Maybe it was brand positioning. Maybe they wanted to come in with a big bang and remind people that, hey, we're back. We're gonna price a trench coat at 10 grand or something. I don't know, but it was a dumb idea. It was a dumb decision to do, man, honestly, because it kind of really sullied the taste of people liking that fucking brand. You know what I mean? It kind of made people like not be, because I remember the collection came out, everyone was amped, was pumped, myself included. Then when everyone found out what the prices were, like that fucking duck hat I wanted, that little duck beanie was like 3 grand or something. It's like, are you having a laugh? You could probably get a dupe of that made by some lady somewhere in a village in England on Etsy for like £50 if you wanted to. You could probably get some woman, some mum somewhere, you could get her to probably knit you that duck beanie, you know, as a dupe, you know, made with love, right? Made with care, with a little handwritten note sent to you from Etsy for way cheaper than that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that has been the Agostinho Zinga Show episode number, I think it's like 738 or something. I don't know what it is, but whatever the episode is, that has been the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company. Talking about all the stuff we're talking about. It's always a pleasure when we're here debating, talking, having a good time, cracking jokes and all of that malarkey. If you've enjoyed the show and you're listening to this via an audio podcast and you like what you hear what you like, please make sure that you click the links in the description down below. You leave me a 5-star review on all the fucking podcast apps. That'd be much appreciated. If you're watching this via the YouTubes, of course, like the flipping video, that would also be appreciated. And you'll find links to all my social media feeds and all that malarkey in the description as well. But for those of you that have been watching, please enjoy. I do appreciate it. If you're listening via the audio podcast, you will hear my tune today. For those of you watching via the video side of it, my tune today is Max B Porno Music 2. Free Max B, by the way. But my tune today is Max B Porno Music 2. It'll be playing on the audio side of the podcast if you listen to it after the fact. If you're watching, it won't. It'll go to grey, or go to black, sorry, not to grey. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. For now, take care. Peace.